In the deep recesses of history, some secrets are so dark that not only the dust of time but the very earth itself wishes to conceal them. These are secrets whispered down through generations, yet never fully brought to light. Today, we bring you one such story, a tale buried within the vast mustard fields of Willow Creek, a peaceful American village in the mid-19th century. This is the story of a family, a mysterious diary, and a terror that still lies hidden within those fields. The year was 1857. The echoes of the American Civil War were still distant, and most rural areas lived their quiet lives. Willow Creek, a small agricultural village, was renowned for its mustard crops, which painted the entire region golden in spring. In this very village resided the wealthy and influential Gray family, Mr. Thomas Gray, his wife Eleanor, and their only daughter, 16-year-old Liliana, living in a grand but aged farmhouse situated in the midst of the mustard fields. Liliana was a bright and inquisitive girl, different from the typical girls of her time. She was fond of reading and deeply interested in the old tales of the village. Her parents, though they loved her dearly, often advised her to stay away from the old villagers, especially from Old Man Henry, the most ancient resident, whom some considered mad. Henry would often sit on the edge of the mustard fields, muttering strange things like the spirits of the fields and those who harvest the crop. One warm afternoon, as Liliana walked along the edge of the fields, she discovered an old, leather-bound diary. The diary was dilapidated from dirt and time, but the writing inside was still legible. It belonged to an old settler of the village, Mr. Samuel Blackwood, who had arrived in the village in the 1810s and had mysteriously vanished. Liliana hid the diary from her parents, knowing they would forbid her from reading it. The first few entries of the diary were mundane, weather, crops, village life, but as Liliana read more, the tone of the writing began to change. Samuel Blackwood had mentioned strange sounds coming from the fields at night, a low, echoing sound emanating from the earth, and a coldness that was felt even on summer nights. He wrote that some villagers, especially those living near the mustard fields, began to disappear at night. No trace was found. They simply vanished. The diary also mentioned a mysterious ritual performed by some old village families to appease the fields. Samuel hadn't detailed the ritual but wrote that it involved a price that kept the village prosperous, but in return something was taken. He also noted that this ritual was performed every 7 years when the mustard crop was at its peak. Liliana also found a map in the diary, indicating a specific spot in the middle of the mustard fields. This place was not far from her own farmhouse. The diary referred to this location as the harvest ground. Samuel had written that there was an ancient stone embedded in the earth at this spot, and from this stone emanated those voices. As Liliana delved deeper into the diary, she noticed that the behavior of her parents and other village elders also became strange. They were excessively worried about the mustard crop, and when the crop neared ripeness, a peculiar fear would cloud their faces. Liliana tried to ask her parents about the diary, but they always changed the subject. One night, Liliana couldn't sleep. She heard the same low, echoing sound coming from the fields that Samuel had mentioned in the diary. The sound was now clearer than before, as if the earth itself was breathing. She gathered her courage and looked out the window. In the moonlight, the mustard fields appeared like a golden sea, but in their midst, she felt dark shadows moving. These shadows were not human in form, but long, thin, and unnatural. Liliana decided she would uncover this secret herself. The next night, when everyone was asleep, she quietly slipped out of the farmhouse and followed the map in the diary towards the harvest ground. The tall mustard plants reached her shoulders, and along with the sharp scent of mustard in the air, there was also a peculiar, earthy smell. As she neared the harvest ground, the echoing sound intensified, and she felt the ground subtly trembling beneath her feet. There, amidst the mustard plants, was a large moss-covered stone embedded in the earth. Strange, unknown symbols were carved onto the stone. Around the stone, she noticed fresh digging marks on the ground. Liliana switched on her recorder and placed it near the stone. She heard that the echoing sound was now much clearer, as if a colossal entity was breathing beneath the earth. And then, she heard something else. Whispers. These were the same whispers Samuel had mentioned. They weren't just the sound of the wind. There were voices, speaking in an unknown language, rising from the earth. Suddenly, the mustard plants around the stone began to move rapidly. The plants themselves writhed, as if something was trying to emerge from beneath them. Liliana saw that in the midst of the fresh digging marks on the ground, a small, human-shaped skeleton appeared. It was a child's skeleton, its bones yellowed, and covered in dirt. After that, another, then another. Several children's skeletons began to emerge from the earth. Liliana's heart pounded. She remembered Samuel's diary mentioning the price and what was taken. These were the children. These were the children who were taken as harvest every 7 years to keep the fields prosperous. Before Liliana could fully comprehend, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned to look. Her parents, Mr. and Mrs. Gray, stood there, their faces bearing a strange, blank expression. With them were some other village elders, including Henry. All of them held old, rusty tools, like hoes and shovels. Mr. Gray said in a low, lifeless voice, "Liliana, you shouldn't be here. You shouldn't know this secret." Liliana asked in fear, "What is this? Who are these children?" Mrs. Gray stepped forward and took Liliana's hand. Her hand was cold as ice. "This is our harvest. This is the price we pay. This land gave us everything, and in return, it takes its due. Every 7 years, when the mustard crop ripens, we give it what it demands." Liliana looked at Henry, whose eyes held a wild glint. Henry whispered, "It sleeps beneath the earth. It wakes, and it hungers. We give it our harvest, so it does not swallow us and our crops." Liliana understood that her family and the village elders had been part of a terrifying pact for centuries. They sacrificed children to keep their fields prosperous. And this year, the harvest was ripe, and it was awakening to claim its due. Liliana screamed and tried to run, but her parents held her firmly. She felt the ground trembling even more violently beneath her feet, and the echoing sound from the stone had now turned into a roar, as if a colossal creature was emerging from the earth. The mustard plants around her were moving rapidly, as if they had come alive themselves. The last thing Liliana saw was a peculiar smile on her parents' faces, a horrifying blend of fear and satisfaction. After that, everything plunged into darkness. Liliana Gray was never seen again after that night. Her parents told the villagers that she had gone to live with a distant relative. No one questioned it. Life in Willow Creek continued as normal. The mustard crop was exceptionally good that year. Even today, Willow Creek remains a small, peaceful agricultural village. The mustard fields bloom golden every spring, but if you ever go there, especially in late spring when the mustard crop is nearing ripeness, you will feel a strange sensation. An unnatural silence will hang over the fields, and if you listen very carefully, you will hear a low, echoing sound coming from the earth, as if a massive entity is breathing in the depths. And sometimes, along with the scent of mustard in the air, you will also feel a faint, earthy and blood-like smell. The village elders still ensure that the harvest is good. They never speak of the harvest ground, nor of the old stone buried in the middle of the mustard fields, but a fear, centuries old, is hidden in their eyes. The secret of Willow Creek remains buried beneath those golden fields, a secret that demands its price every 7 years. And whoever knows this secret either falls silent or becomes a part of that very harvest. This secret of the mustard fields, a tale hidden in the darkest corners of history. What do you think was the sacrifice made by the people of Willow Creek? And would you ever dare to walk through such fields? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this story has given you a deep chill, then don't forget to subscribe to FearLit for more true and terrifying stories, and hit that like button to help us unearth more forgotten secrets. Until next time, stay vigilant, for the world holds more darkness than you can ever imagine.